Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody. It is time to dive in on today's topic, Storage Showcase, Data Center, Edge, and Cloud Options. I am unofficially calling this webinar Storage Wars as we all generate and consume so much more data these days. It is becoming for organizations a growing challenge and demand, and selecting the right storage solutions has become a critical business decision, both from a functionality standpoint, but also when it comes to cost and scalability. Today, we'll showcase cutting-edge options spanning data centers, edge environments, and cloud platforms, providing actionable insights to optimize storage strategies. I'm sure you're looking to future-proof your data storage infrastructure, and that's exactly the information you'll get on the EcoCast today. Luckily, we have expert presenters from Rubrik and Cloudian to help guide us through this important conversation, as well as an excellent keynoter here to open things up and set the stage. I'm sure you're all ready and pumped up to get started. So we're going to go through a little bit of housekeeping here, and then we're going to get our speakers on out here with us. My name is Mackenzie Pudici. I am a moderator here at Actual Tech Media, and I've got my friends and fellow moderators, Jess Steinbach, Scott Becker, and Keith Ward here, also on live chat today. If it is your first EcoCast with me, well, it's great to meet you, and I want to thank you for being here. And just to make sure you're all awake and alive out there, if you haven't already, why don't you find that questions tab in your console and start out by saying a quick hello, bonjour, hola, aloha, or whatever greeting you'd like to leave today, and give a wave to the community here with you. Now, I've got something more today for you than just incredibly valuable information. I have also got some prizes. Yes, we have three $300 Amazon gift cards up for grabs on today's webinar. Now, you do need to be present and live on the webinar here with us to win. And as mentioned in that housekeeping video this morning, you can find the full T's and C's linked in the handouts tab if you have any questions about that. You'll also see handouts from each of our speakers here linked in the handouts tab as well. You may want to grab those right now, or if you want to wait till the moment where they're kind of relevant to you, I'll be calling those out more specifically later in the EcoCast today. And, well, with that last little thing, I believe we are ready to rock. First and foremost, we have got our keynote speaker here to open up today's topic, cover and set the stage around cloud, around storage, and all the different options and trends that are prevailing here as we open up 2025. And I'm going to stop talking and let Joey do the talking. So please welcome to the stage Joey D'Antoni. He is a cloud architect and author. And well, Joey, I'm going to let you introduce yourself more and dive in on the topic. Take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Storage Showcase, Data Center, Edge, and Cloud Options. I'm Joey D'Antoni, and I'm a principal cloud architect. And today you're going to learn about the current state of the art in data center, edge, and cloud storage. One of the trends we've seen over the last decade is that storage volumes have become ever increasing. This is driven by a number of factors, not limited to advanced data analytics and engineering practices, the use of artificial intelligence, which demands very large data models, and also the decreasing cost of storing data. One of the key delineations I want you to understand is that while the storage cost per volume has dramatically decreased, the storage cost for performance has stayed the same. So storing archival data has gotten extremely cheap to meet those regulatory requirements. But if you need to access that data quickly, whether you're in the cloud or on premises, it can still be very expensive. But what we're going to do today is walk through some of the options you have at the data center, at the edge, and at the cloud. Compact storage solutions and higher performance edge computing devices have made the ability to perform more processing at the edge a thing, and it can reduce your overall storage cost. But we're going to explore storage technologies to see how they're evolving to meet modern demands across all of these environments. Let's kind of dive in. As I mentioned, there's been a data explosion in storage demand growth. For a long time, before the broad use of solid-state storage devices, we saw an increase in storage volume, but we didn't see an increase of storage performance. In the 2010 era, it was really difficult to get performance out of storage. You had to use complex RAID configurations with hundreds or even thousands of disks to reach levels of IOPS. In fact, if we look at some of the computing platforms that we've seen over time, really one of the things that changed was Hadoop to take advantage of striping disk across a wide array of servers and, using RAID 0 in conjunction with software RAID to try to drive up those IOPS. In fact, a lot of that became the basis for what we know as object storage in terms of things like S3, Google Object Storage, or Azure Blob. So we've had these platforms that have suited us for growth, but we've also had faster storage. And if anybody who started knew you had a SAN and you would have, 2 or 4 gigabit storage, now there's 64 or 128 gigabit, and that's the connection from the server to the SAN. But we've also had different types of things. So trends like AI, the Internet of Things, where we have a constant stream of data, and real-time analytics are reshaping how and where we store that data. So we need to develop flexible and scalable solutions that are now essential in the industry, whether that's for IoT data, whether that's for AI. We need to be able to turn things on and turn things off. Key benefit of the cloud, we tend not to have as much lead time on storage. If you want to buy a storage array for your data center, that can take weeks, etc. But we can see that on-prem. So let's dive in first into what's going on in the data center. As I mentioned earlier, we saw a big land shift around 2013, 2014, when we saw solid state drives kind of take over the world. That went further with the NVMe protocol, which allows for extremely low latency storage performance on the order of well below a millisecond. And for workloads that are tending to stay in data centers, we see that large performance demand. As I mentioned earlier in the cloud, performance is really expensive for storage. Volume, not so much, but performance, really expensive. So a lot of those workloads that demand very high or very low latencies are staying on-prem. And that's where we're seeing some of this high performance storage. Another trend we're seeing, and I think this is just going to continue mainly due to a lot of the Broadcom VMware shenanigans that are going on, is hyper-converged infrastructure like Nutanix. So Nutanix and other HCI platforms like Azure Stack have become fairly broad. This is a little bit antithetical to that storage performance because there is some trade-offs you make when going hyper-converged for storage performance, but it does simplify management. When you need to add capacity, you just buy additional nodes. Another thing we're seeing both on-prem and in the cloud is AI-driven storage management, whether that's automated tiering, and we've had this for a while. It's just getting a little bit more smart, or a little bit smarter, I should say, with some of the AI solutions that are built into it. And that's, moving hot data to hotter tiers of storage and moving cold data to colder, cheaper tiers of storage. So the main thing we've seen in the data center in recent years is just more performance, lower cost, more compact U counts in terms of how much storage you can fit into a given rack unit. This kind of ties into our next discussion, which is edge computing, because edge storage is really critical for handling a lot of Internet of Things and real-time processing needs. I'm a race car junkie and actually a bicycle racing junkie too. And a lot of the teams travel with storage arrays now, and these are really kind of considered to be edge devices. SSDs help with this because they're a lot less fragile than traditional spinning disk cores, so they can be easily moved. But you also see ruggedized, compact, high density, but high performance storage solutions, which can enable these edge deployments in challenging environments. And, maybe this data is connected to your network. Maybe it's asynchronously connected to your network, but you're processing as much of the data locally as you can. For example, the F1 teams will process as much data as they can locally before sending that back, a filtered stream of that data back to the team's headquarters. And the reason for this is at the edge, you're never going to have full network connectivity or the maximal amount. So you may want to do as much of that processing as you can there. And there are devices that exist to support this. And having high storage density and high performance makes that a possibility. Let's talk about the cloud. Cloud storage has evolved greatly over the time. I mentioned, that the performance in the cloud maybe isn't the same as it is on-prem. That is still kind of accurate, and you do have to pay a lot of money for performance, but you can definitely achieve, I'd say probably 99.5 based on a lot of the testing I've done. And man, I have done a lot of testing of cloud storage performance. You can achieve pretty close to on-prem storage performance at a cost. We also see the other trend we see here, and this applies to storage and applies to both performance storage and volume object storage, is multi-cloud and hybrid cloud solutions. So we see organizations doing some repatriation of those critical workloads, or maybe not moving those critical workloads, but at the same time expanding their cloud footprint and going multi-cloud. Multi-cloud can have a lot of different meanings. whether that be using software as a service platforms like Salesforce in conjunction with AWS, or using AWS in conjunction with GCP and Azure. Sometimes that happens via acquisition, sometimes it just happens naturally. We also see the continuing scalability of object storage platforms like S3, Azure Blob, and Google Object Storage. This is really the kind of beautiful thing about cloud storage, is that you just have the ability to scale pretty much infinitely, especially in terms of storage volume. Performance can be a little bit more challenging, but volume is kind of always there. And the cloud providers are doing a much better job of giving you enhanced security and compliance by providing things like private networking, certificate management, all of those things, and immutability. The cloud's definitely got a lot of advantages, especially if you're a small organization and you're not used to managing enterprise class storage. So some future trends in storage, I think AI is going to continue to drive intelligent storage management. It's also going to drive utilization. I think a lot of these AI models are going to require retrieval augmented generation, which is going to in turn have a lot more data. And when you're vectorizing data in databases, those vectors take up a lot of space. Another key point is sustainability, with energy efficient storage solutions gaining traction. And there's always that thing out there about quantum computing. Quantum storage could revolutionize capacity and with storage and with speed and performance. We don't know. It only operates in like -25 Fahrenheit, so we'll see how that works out in the future. So some strategic considerations you want to think of. You want to align your storage goals with business goals and responsibilities. So if you have a lot of 3-letter agencies that make you keep data for an extended period of time, you can do that. But overall, you want to balance performance and cost. And these are going to all tie into your business demands. I've worked with hedge funds who have all the money in the world and they want storage that returns results in nanoseconds. I've worked with other companies that are happy with a few milliseconds of latency for fair cost. You also want to plan for security and scalability, because there's always that threat of ransomware. Before we wrap up, let's talk about a couple of different case studies. The first one I want to talk about is a global retailer who's got a hybrid cloud. They face challenges in managing large-scale transactional workloads during peak shopping seasons. So what they were able to do was have scalable storage in the cloud to meet that peak demand and then bring it back in. This is really a classic cloud scenario. Another example here is a smart city initiative for an edge storage deployment. This deployed thousands of IoT sensors across a city. To handle this massive real-time data, edge storage devices were installed to process that data locally, reducing latency, and then only send a subset of that data back to the network, which reduced their energy usage by 20%. Our last case before we wrap up here is AI data center-driven optimization. So here, a financial services firm implemented AI-powered storage management across its data centers to optimize their data workflows. Predictive analytics helped them identify storage inefficiencies, and this helped them lead to about a 30% reduction in storage cost and faster data retrieval for their real-time systems. Let's wrap up. Here's a quick summary of today's key points. Storage demands in terms of both volume and performance are skyrocketing for various types of systems, and scalable solutions are really more important than ever. You're going to see focuses on performance and efficiency, trends towards edge storage that's going to reduce latency and enable real-time processing. The cloud's still going to provide you flexibility, and I don't envision cloud storage stopping its rapid growth path. AI, sustainability, and quantum are probably where our future needs are. AI is probably the most present of all of those, and sustainability is kind of building on top of that AI. And then finally, you want to always align your storage goals, your storage strategies with your business goals, so that you're not spending too much, you're maintaining budgets, and you're keeping everyone happy. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, Joey, you too. That was great. Thank you so much. I know we had a couple of questions come in. Joey's not sticking around for Q&A, but we'll pass those on. So if anyone's looking for some info from Joey, we'll make sure he can follow up with you guys, or just reach out on LinkedIn. That's a great way to connect with our keynoters and follow what they're up to, what they're writing, what they're thinking, and stay on top of trends as well. Now, I've got also a poll up for you all. So the poll here is just asking, what is your time frame for adding new or updating your existing IT solutions at your company? So is this something you're looking to do right away in the next kind of 0 to 6 months, kind of within the year, 6 to 12, couple year timeline, a little bit longer term planning here, 12 to 24? or maybe you're not sure. You're just here getting a sense of what's available, what tools there are, what tools are evolving. And then from there, you can make some more informed decisions as you make next steps or pass those decisions around within your organization. So I'm going to leave that up for just a quick second there, but otherwise we are ready to pull our first team here on the EcoCast on stage and get chatting. So on today's EcoCast, we have got two fantastic teams presenting. It'll fly by. It's jam-packed with valuable information, as always. And so with that, I'm taking the poll down and let's dive in. First up, we have got the team from Rubrik back in the house. Justin Ruiz, their senior product marketing manager, is in the house and ready to give you some information around Rubrik's data silos and how you guys can use that solution for your storage. So take it away, Justin, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Ruiz. I'm a director of product marketing here at Rubrik. So great to be here with all of you. And thanks for joining our webinar today on how to empower IT with immutable data vaults. Okay, so achieving business resilience requires cyber resilience, and that starts with securing your data. And so today we'll talk about the important role immutable data vaults play in a cyber resilience strategy, as well as the critical capabilities they require to empower IT to recover with speed and confidence. And so we'll specifically take a look at the current landscape, talking through the key challenges teams face related to traditional kind of immutable data vaults, before shifting gears and outlining the subsequent capabilities that are required to make them kind of viable, and finally explain how with Rubrik Secure Vault, you can secure data with immutability and air gap and access controls, as well as some of the other additional capabilities it enables to be effective at scale, including automation, speed and performance, and even the underlying architecture that is required to enable the other critical piece to this whole cyber resilience maze, cyber posture. And for those who might want to learn more, I'll mention some additional resources at the end that I think you'll find useful. So pretty packed agenda, as you can see. So let's dive in. All right, so starting from the top, what you see on the screen is a common production environment. You have production systems, backup storage, and copies and restores all over the place. And with cyber attacks on the rise, and with no end in sight, I might add, many have turned to traditional backup and recovery to try and protect their data. And it makes sense, as a place to start, a place to look. And after all, backup and recovery technologies have been a critical component for virtually all organizations, and they've been used for disaster recovery and business compliance for years and years. However, most organizations struggle to get these solutions to actually work. In fact, Rubrik Zero Labs reported that 99% of the organizations in their recent study had an existing backup solution. However, 93% of those same organizations encountered significant problems with their existing solution. Taking it even further, one of the biggest limitations that we hear that organizations face during a cyber attack is actually cited as an ineffective backup and recovery solution. And so this is a huge problem, but actually there's even a bigger problem at play here. And that is, unfortunately, most backup solutions are not up to the task of securing the data. And so a partner of ours called Aon, which is a leading global professional services firm, they reported that 70% of organizations do not store backups offsite, or their backups are not immutable. And that's a huge problem, as cyber criminals are really no amateurs. They know the game, and they actually regularly target backup platforms. In fact, Rubrik Zero Labs found attackers have gone after backups in a whopping 96% of attacks. And worse, they were at least partially successful in 74% of those attempts. And so, simply put, legacy backup solutions that may have once protected data actually struggle to keep up with the modern threats. And even when taking traditional backup and trying to evolve it into a data vault, because they are two different things, it is often not viable, as it requires twice the hardware to get an immutable and scanned copy. Not what you want when you're already left wrangling a complex system. Securing your data is critical, full stop, but it only gets you part of the way there. And one of the reasons for that is that today's admins are now having to manage hundreds or even thousands of instances, jobs, backups, and all of the other ancillary systems that make common tasks and administration possible. Businesses now need to respond faster and analyze more data to remain competitive. And this results in applications needing more specialized environments to really to support every use case. And so as a result, a typical company today has everything from physical systems, operating systems, virtual machines, databases, file systems, containers, and so on. And each of these systems can often have their own tools for backup and recovery, along with the different business SLAs. And so dealing with all of this complexity is expensive, it creates silos, really increases the risk that critical data will be left unprotected. And actually, Rubrik Zero Labs found that 40% of organizations have not set compliance policies for their data backups. On top of that, there tends to be no global visibility, making reporting and administration tasks manual and making visibility super difficult. This is a growing problem as demands on a modern, business necessitate an increased focus on the cloud and SaaS. We see the nature of hybrid environments moving towards cloud and SaaS while deprioritizing on-premises architecture growth. And almost all, 98% of organizations surveyed believe they currently have significant data visibility challenges. And to make matters worse, data volumes are growing fast, and that's driven by transaction volumes as well as the business need for richer data. The growth in data collection can be attributed to activities like increasing use of analytics, cloud migration initiatives, and even the proliferation of IoT devices. For example, retailers now track more data about each consumer, I think, which we've all experienced. But at the same time, backup windows have remained the same or have shortened, and that's driven by the need for even higher availability. And so this means backing up more data and making it available for everything from testing and refreshes to operational recoveries. And unfortunately, with legacy systems, can often exceed the desired SLAs. And so 66% of IT and security leaders believe their organization's current data growth is outpacing their ability to secure this data and really manage risk. But we also find that most of the time organizations are unable to rapidly recover what they need when they need it. For example, recovering specific data in a larger backup. And so legacy tools are often limited to all or nothing recovery methods that take just a lot of time. In fact, it's not uncommon for admins, to not even have access to the backup and are reliant on other teams for access. And this adds operational risks, and it ends up being much slower than desired by the business. And all of these challenges are compounded as you add more types of systems to the environment. And as we've already touched on, and as you already know, not uncommon for an enterprise to have multiple systems running, everything from physical systems, operating systems, virtual machines, databases, file systems, and even containers across on-premises and the cloud. And so together, all of these challenges are having a huge impact on organizations. And we see it in the questions IT teams are asking us. That's going to be questions like, how do I keep all of my data secure and available to recover in the face of cyber threats? How do I maintain a backup and recovery SLA when data volumes are increasing and backup windows are shrinking? But similarly, how do I rapidly recover only the data I need and make it available to users when they need it? As well as, how do I centrally manage the numerous environments across the cloud as well as in the data center? And so this is why at Rubrik, we believe there are a whole new set of requirements that organizations must have in order to protect their data in this modern era. The first is really around Rubrik Secure Vault and this notion of a data vault. And so keeping data secure and available to cyber attacks. And so enterprises need a resilient kind of integrated platform that delivers air-gapped, mutable, access-controlled backups that can be easily replicated and archived to multiple locations. But like we talked about, having the data available really is only part of the solution. They also need some automated data protection. This is to ensure the data is always protected in a changing environment. Organizations need policy-based automation that can discover, secure, and manage retention of data in a variety of systems they have across the enterprise. And with all of these environments, really in multiple places, these enterprises need unified protection across cloud and on-premises. And that means organizations need a single console to manage data, irrespective of location, variety, or volume, with ease of use and self-service from a single access control platform. And with all that data, these enterprises need faster backup and restores at scale because all of this data that is now being generated, organizations need smarter and higher performing backup technologies to deal with the larger volumes of data within shorter backup timeframes. And so instantaneous recovery of data at any scale is also a critical requirement. Okay, but what about recovery? After all, what good is backup if you can't recover it? So these enterprises need that ability to recover what they need when they need it. And this is the flexibility to restore specific data or entire workloads en masse. And last but not least, and maybe most importantly, organizations need to be able to understand what they are protecting and have a historical view to be able to provide additional security insights, which we'll talk about in the next couple of slides. And so these requirements are critical. So with all of that said, what is Rubrik's approach? How can Rubrik help? Well, to start, to keep your data readily available, Rubrik was built from the ground up following zero trust principles that assume breach. This includes leveraging an immutable file system, an air gap, and access controls to deliver a data vault that prevents your data from being located, modified, or even deleted from the very first backup. And because Rubrik has the historical time series of your data and captures the metadata, Rubrik is in a unique position to provide further insights such as data threat analytics and data security posture. And so together with this protection and insights, Rubrik is able to deliver complete cyber resilience from a single platform. And all of this protection is delivered through the automated SLAs that are inherited. So Rubrik automatically discovers and protects data by defining the backup frequency, retention, archival, and even replication, all from a single SLA policy. And these SLAs encompass the entire lifecycle of your data, not only giving your teams their time back to work on other, differentiated work, but ultimately peace of mind, ensuring your data never goes unprotected wherever it lives. And as you know, with Rubrik Security Cloud, all of this broad protection is unified under a single platform. And so this provides customers with a unique view into all your data, helping drive compliance to meet your business objectives. But also, Rubrik was built for scale, and to help customers keep up with the ever-growing volumes, Rubrik leverages innovations like incremental forever backups. And so what that means is each platform, does this a little bit differently. But with Rubrik, whenever we take a backup, the particular system thinks we're taking a full backup or a level kind of 0 backup. But right under the covers, we're going to do some additional work to basically only capture the change data and move that across. And then, what we store historically is what you could call a synthetic full. As we take in incremental data, we merge it in the history, and we are basically able to store the backups that you need without all of that data every time. Ultimately, as a result, Rubrik is moving less data, storing less data, and because of our scale architecture, the larger the Rubrik cluster, the faster we can go. The last element of the Rubrik approach for enterprise data protection is recovery. And so this might perhaps be the most important piece, like we talked about. After all, the whole reason you back up data to begin with is so you can recover it when you need it. So to help you recover what you need when you need it, Rubrik provides a number of flexible recovery options that really put you in the driver's seat. Our recovery options offer really a spectrum of control, where on one end, you have the options that are completely automated. You select the point in time, select recover, and Rubrik will take care of the rest. While on the other end of the spectrum, you have the ability to tell Rubrik where you want to land your data, and you can manage the entire recovery yourself with your own tools. And so the goal is to enable you to exercise your expertise how you want and when you want. Rubrik also provides rapid access to data with recovery innovations like Live Mount. And so because Rubrik understands the context of what we're backing up, this allows us to understand the appropriate recovery mechanisms, as well as the blast radius of any attack, especially with regards to critical or sensitive data. Unlike traditional recovery, when you recover to the latest point in time, you need to be able to ensure that all the malware is eliminated from the data before you recover. And so to do that, you have to be able to go back in time to understand where the malware originated and thus eliminate it before restoring to protection. And of course, because Rubrik is API-led, you have the ability to automate recovery with your own scripts. And like we talked about architecture, it's not enough to just protect your data. You have to be able to understand what you're protecting, have an historical view of how it's changed. And so Rubrik, with our time series data and metadata, we're able to provide data threat analytics and data security posture natively within the platform. We're able to understand things like, what data do we have? Where is it located? How has it changed? Who's accessing it? What are they doing with it? And all of these insights are only possible because of the purpose-built architecture that was made from the ground up. Okay, so to start wrapping up, I know we covered a lot of ground, but just to recap, as you probably have already experienced yourself, protecting data is no easy feat. And with today's current landscape, it's only getting harder. But the good news is that with Rubrik Secure Vault and Rubrik Data Protection, through our zero trust design that assumes breach, that global policy-driven automation, an incremental approach to backups, unified management, and flexible recovery and live mount, you can keep all your data safe and readily available so you can always recover only what you need when you need it. And so Rubrik has a lot of experience with data protection. Rubrik as a company was founded in 2014. And in that short amount of time, Rubrik has delivered purpose-built protection for everything from Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle databases to Entra ID and Amazon S3. And we see the trust and belief in these solutions with the momentum. I'm proud to share that Rubrik is protecting data for more than 6,000 customers and has a net promoter score of greater than 84 and a customer satisfaction score of 98%. And we deliver that protection all from a single data security platform. And that's going to be customers big and small across industries, across the globe. They all trust Rubrik to protect their data. It's customers like Carhartt, Home Depot, PepsiCo, and even St. Luke's. Okay, on to the resources. So as we start to close things out, I wanted to share just a couple of resources that I thought you would find interesting or helpful. The first is our report, the State of Data Security, Measuring Your Data's Risk. I mentioned this report throughout the presentation, a ton of valuable information that I think you'll find interesting. But next, for those of you who want to get a little bit deeper and maybe even get hands-on, I would highly recommend taking a look at Rubrik Explore, which is a collection of self-guided product tours. No need to talk to anybody from the Rubrik team if you don't like. It's all self-paced. And there's a tour there on Rubrik Security Cloud, and that tour will guide you through the Rubrik Security Cloud UI, things like the navigation and data protection dashboards. It will also take you through the global SLA domains, that we spoke about, actually giving you a chance to create your own SLAs and even apply them. And it also takes you through some of those zero trust capabilities we spoke about, including role-based access control and multi-factor authentication. So really a great way to get started with Rubrik and to learn more. But in addition to these resources, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to Rubrik if you wanted to learn more. We would be more than happy to get in touch and share how customers are protecting large environments with Rubrik. Our teams can even provide a personalized walkthrough if that's something that would be interesting. And just to go a little bit deeper, there are a bunch of other tours there as well, roughly 25 in total, covering everything from DB2 and Microsoft SQL to M365 and some SaaS protection. So definitely check it out. There's something there for everyone. And with that, just a big thank you to all of you for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Justin, I know you're on a tight timeline, so we're not going to have you sticking around for Q&A, but if you guys did throw in a question, do not worry. The Rubrik team is going to follow up on those. And I didn't mention this at the beginning because it slipped my mind, but there is a best question gift card for each session today, $50 Amazon gift card. So you will qualify if you already asked a question for Rubrik. But for Claudia and our next team up, feel free to get those questions flowing all throughout the presentation, and then I'll be picking our guest's brain with all of your questions live here on today's EcoCast. Now, Justin did a great job pointing you guys in the direction of a lot of useful resources and follow-ups for Rubrik. There is one linked there in the handouts tab. So it's an overview of Rubrik's zero trust data management, and you'll find valuable resources as well as a recorded demo you can watch at your own time, at your own pace. You don't have to talk to anyone. You don't have to worry about any sales conversations you don't want to get yourself into. But you can check that out and see if that solution works for you. And also in there, you're going to find a bunch of other interesting resources. So check that out there. Also, of course, I've got a poll up. So if you've noticed that, great. If not, take a second to answer that. This is just really your wish list, your easy button, the way you're able to get exactly what you're looking for from the Rubric team. So if you're looking for data sheet, white paper, customer case study, pricing details, a demo, go in there, plunk in your answer, and you're going to get exactly that after today's webinar on short order. So there we have it. It is also prize time. So we've got our first of three $300 Amazon gift cards to give away here. And again, you do need to be live and present on the EcoCast today to win. But without further ado, why don't we announce that winner? So first and foremost, we've got Peter Lai from California. Peter, congratulations. You are going to be reached out to from our team after today's webinar, and we'll let you know how you can collect your prize. Now, again, 2 more of those up for grabs after our next presenter, which is our second but final of the day, as well as that $50 best question gift card up for grabs. So keep those questions coming in hot throughout the next session. Alrighty, and with that, speaking of the next session, we have got Claudian in the house here, and from Claudian we have Amit Rawlani. Sorry if I didn't say that smooth enough. Amit Rawlani, Senior Director of Technology Alliances. So Amit, I'm going to hand things over to you, and then again, we're going to be picking your brain and pitching and voicing as many questions from the audience as we have time for after that. So I'll see you on the other side. Take it away, and the floor is yours.
Hello and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are in the world. My name is Amit Ravlani. I'm Senior Director of Technology and Solutions. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about cloud and your cloud infrastructure, your cloud journey, and specifically why everything in the world today is hybrid. So the topic of today is the world is hybrid. And what we mean by that is everybody today talks about using cloud and cloud technologies, moving to the cloud. Most people automatically assume that this is the public cloud, but public cloud constitutes only 30% of the world's cloud related activities, specifically true for data and data storage. 70% of all the data on the storage side resides on premises or in edge locations, that is data centers, colos, which is kind of private cloud or hybrid cloud. The reasons for these are multifold, and we'll get into some of these with the challenges that are faced in the world today, right? So with that, let's quickly touch on what the main challenges are. The top 4 challenges for enterprises today to solve from their data management, data storage aspects are the data growth, sovereignty of their data, security of the data, and as they begin their or as they go along their cloud journey, the complexity and the cost that is required that comes in with modernizing your infrastructure to be a cloud first infrastructure. Okay, and this will give you an idea of what why hybrid cloud is so important. So let's double click on some of these things. So from a data growth perspective, right? Today, data is growing at its fastest rates. You're looking at 5x to 10x data growth year over year. And this is a huge challenge because legacy infrastructure that has been around is just not able to cope up with this data growth. It becomes extremely hard to scale and very, very difficult to manage as the capacity increases. This results in increasing the number of systems that you have to deploy and manage, and more software layers and tools that are coming in to be able to cope up with this. There is the increased infrastructure and management cost itself is daunting for most of uh, our uh, our enterprise customers today. So what's the solution for this? The solution to address this problem starts with simplification of your architecture and your design in general, right? A modular system that can grow seamlessly and scale out rather than scale up is what you need to grow. It needs to grow seamlessly with in capacity without growing the complexity that is inherent with the legacy system as you scale up. So you should be able to scale up, but the complexity of your management aspect of that data infrastructure should not go up. The other aspect, specifically on the management side, is whether it being cloud, whether it being on-prem, whether it goes to your colo, it should look like a single system to you, and you should be able to manage each of these tranches seamlessly across various various locations as you grow your data infrastructure. The next aspect is the sovereignty of the data. I mean, not all data today is equal, and not all can go into the cloud. We know this. Um, Lack of geographic boundaries in the public cloud creates issues with compliance and privacy, right? Um, the data privacy laws in various parts of the world and in regulated industries, specifically like healthcare, governments, finance, and gaming, does not permit data to, cross borders, or in some cases even cross enterprise firewalls. This can be an issue when you're looking to put the data in the cloud. Uh, the US Cloud Act becomes a big challenge in certain cases. This actually empowers the US government to subpoena information regarding data stored by US-based cloud providers, ergo, your hyperscalers, regardless of where the data is located. This creates huge privacy concerns for non-US entities, and even US entities, to be honest, right? If the government can get access to your data, that is a challenge, right? Data gravity is another challenge. Migrating the data lock, stock, and barrel into the cloud can not only be costly, it can be time consuming. It can make, uh, you know, um, your migration to the cloud very, very challenging. And that's the reason, right, why your infrastructure should be about putting the cloud where you actually need it. That is, the world has to consider private cloud solutions along with your private cloud solution and or hybrid, right? This puts the data exactly where you need it to be, where it is close to where it is generated, close to where the applications are going to use it. Data residency in this scenarios can be ensured. Compliance with company laws, which are paramount, are also addressed. And this definitely eliminates cost of lock stock shifting your data uh, um, over the network and or into the public cloud completely. Okay. Next is the complexity and the cost of actually doing it. We addressed a little bit about it. Ensuring a hybrid cloud-ready architecture being a top priority for CIOs. The modern cloud, the modern workloads will employ cloud APIs that are usually not compatible with traditional IT infrastructure. Consequently, applications and data portability along cloud and on-prem environment becomes a challenge as well, making it a lot more complex to implement and manage. What you look at for your solutions to reduce this complexity is an architecture that is completely cloud native and addresses the challenges of implementing a hybrid environment seamlessly, right? What you want to look for is the data infrastructure that you employ on premises should have the same data formats as the cloud. Uh, the the APIs to access the data should be similar. In the cloud's case, the de facto standard for data access and management is the S3 API. So we're talking about S3 API should be definitely part of your consideration. And you should be able to manage both the on-prem and the cloud piece from a single location, thereby collapsing your management requirement. And then finally, coming to security, right? Um, traditional traditional infrastructure gives you security at best at the perimeter level. What you need is to protect against the threat of ransomware, because ransomware requires only one loose chink in the chain to get access to your data network and encrypt your data. Your storage or data storage system needs to be able to have data immutability that prevents hackers from encrypting and deleting the data as the last line of your defense, right? You need to ensure your data is fully secure, because without that, anything above is kind of meaningless. If you look at what some of the analysts are saying, specifically, if you look at what Gartner is saying, by 2025, 40% of the world is going to be implementing hybrid cloud storage. This is up from 15% back in 2021. So it's a huge jump. And you look at the other survey, it says 95% of the new workloads will be cloud native by 2025. This means your infrastructure, whether it's a cloud on premises, needs to be talking a standard API, specifically S3 compatible data storage will become paramount. So getting into, why the cloud is, so kind of summarizing why the cloud is more than just the public cloud. Basically, what are the drivers for the hybrid clouds? To reiterate, it's the cost. It's a huge element to completely lift shift to the cloud. This is a big driver for repatriation, even for customers that have completely shifted to the cloud to look into hybrid and or private cloud environments. Compliance and sovereignty, availability of the data with cloud outages, and the data gravity. So we addressed all of these things, and now I definitely want to talk to you guys a little bit about Cloudian. So meet Cloudian. Cloudian is a software-defined storage purpose-built for the hybrid cloud. Uh, the system comes with military-grade security, limitless scalability, and seamless cloud integration to enable you to implement your hybrid infrastructure without any issues. Cloudian lets you optimize data access wherever the data resides and meet your data sovereignty requirements and cut costs by consolidating information into a single cloud-like platform. Okay, how do we do that? Number one, Cloudian is 100% cloud native. It is built on the S3 API, and that's the storage language for the cloud. Cloudian, in fact, is the only enterprise storage system built from the ground up on the S3 API, including every call error code. In fact, it is bug compatible with AWS S3. With full S3 compatibility, you know that the tools, apps, the software that is written for the cloud will work with Cloudian. And just as important, any application that you develop on Cloudian will work with the public cloud. Second, it is got a service-ready architecture. It was built with service providers in mind. So things like QoS, multi-tenancy, billing, uh, uh, role-based access controls. These are inherent features of Cloudian, not something that everybody has built into their systems. And then finally, right, Cloudian's global management tools give you deep insights into your data network and the users that are using your data, making management easy and scalable as your environment grows. The four main features for Cloudian are the limitless scalability that it offers with a modular architecture growing into exabytes. Starting small, you can start with as much as 100 terabytes and grow into exabytes. And the expansion happens non-disruptively, so you can add one node at a time to grow. The whole architecture is completely distributed. You can actually have a fully geo-distributed deployment of Cloudian, and it scales just like your public cloud does. It is platform agnostic, so you can deploy in containers, you can do bare metal servers, VMs, or also in the public cloud. And it is hybrid cloud enabled. In fact, we work very closely with AWS. We are the partners for AWS on Outpost and provide S3 services for the Outpost storage piece as well. From a security perspective, very, very secure platform, highest number of security certifications for object storages in the marketplace today. If you look at all of the certifications like FINRA, EAL2, NIST, FIPS, Cloudian has everything. We follow the NIST guidelines and have all kind of data encryption features for data at rest, data in motion. Secure multi-tenancy is a key feature, and data immutability with the S3 object lock has the industry best implementation of this, which is third-party validated and certified. Okay. Coming to the new shiny object, only last month, Cloudian has announced their collaboration with NVIDIA and launched the industry's first GPU Direct for object storage capability. This has been in the development for over a year and a half, and the idea for this is, as the world becomes more of an AI world, data lakes are becoming more and more important, and not just as a capacity storage tier. Um, I mean, that's where 80% of the world's data resides today, which is in object storage. And enterprises want and need to make use of this data at the scale that cannot be utilized in traditional storage or file-based storage. This will actually ensure better outcomes for your Gen AI. What GPU Direct for Object does is allows you to use data sitting in your data lakes, which are built on object storage by Cloudian, and feed the GPU directly, bypassing the CPU. So there's no HTTP protocol. Everything goes over RDMA, which is something very, very new that's being supported by Cloudian. So this is an extension of the S3 protocol to support S3 RDMA. Parallel transfers from multiple Cloudian nodes into the GPU memory, thereby feeding the beast, so to speak. So the GPUs, which are an extremely expensive resource, are always utilized and give you the best outcome for your Gen AI workloads, right? And this is the first of its kind in the industry for object storages. Very, very key. And all of this is done over standard S3 API. There is no vendor-specific lock-in here. These are industry standard extensions that we are making, and very exciting and a key aspect of what Gen AI requires today. One important thing as well is all the modifications that are made to enable S3 RDMA and GPU Direct specifically on Cloudian does not require any kernel level modifications. And this is not something that other storage vendors can say today, specifically on the file side. So if you look at it, right, today's AI in storage infrastructure has multiple pieces. There's a storage requirement for raw data. There's storage requirement for the training data sets, for the trained models, the quantized models. Even for the RAG, you're looking at a different storage piece for that, for the vector databases. And then at the training specifically, you're also looking at storage tiers for checkpointing. Now, all of these add to a lot of different storage tiers with a lot of storage requirements and a lot of complexity. What GPU Direct for Object with Cloudian is doing is simplifying your data stack for Gen AI and giving you a shared data lake for all of your workloads. And this can all be hybrid. At the back end, we can actually connect to the public cloud to stream data in and out. And there's no real data migration required, because all of this with Cloudian would be in the single namespace. The next thing I want to talk about is the number of use cases are actually limitless. So we talked about Gen AI. You can look at the whole data lake as whether it's a data lake house, whether it's actually a data observability data lake. All of these things are all standardizing on S3, and Cloudian has worked with a lot of partners to make sure the integrations are sound. On the media side, looking at it as a media repository, backup with Veeam, Rubrik, Cohesity, Commvault, Veritas. And then on the file side, right, we work with a lot of file vendors to actually create file access to data stored in object on Cloudian. So if you look at it, it's got the industry's broadest solution ecosystem and gives you capability of deploying and managing all of your applications from the same system in a hybrid environment. And focused on enterprise and service provider space. We've got over 900 plus customers. This is just an eye chart to show you a lot of the who's who in the enterprise space rely on Cloudian already. And then we are the only Gartner Peer Insight winners 4 times in a row. So this is something that should give you confidence that Cloudian has a uh, lot of good reviews coming on its back. And I'm going to leave you guys with 3 main points about Cloudian and why customers use Cloudian and why you should consider it. So this is for its native data management, its scalability from edge to core and around the globe, and then security and integrated ransomware protection. All of this enabled in a hybrid world gives you the best chance for future-proofing and modernizing your data infrastructure in the cloud world. With that, I've come to an end of my presentation. Thank you, and look forward to your questions.
All right. Excellent, 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 Amit. That was great. We got a ton of audience questions coming in here. I do have a final poll question up for all of you, so we'd love to get your feedback on any additional resources that you would like to explore from Cloudian. So just like before, are you looking at data sheets, white papers, case studies, pricing, all that good stuff? We're going to leave this up during the Q&A, so you've got a little bit of time to fill this in. And well, with that, Amit, are you ready to take on a barrage of questions here?
Absolutely. Let them come in.
Awesome.
Keep them
Okay,
coming.
so first one up is, can you expand on the security certifications for Cloudian? How do you help with data compliance?
Right. So Cloudian is a extremely secure data platform. We pride ourselves for having the industry's best implementation of data security at rest, in motion, and also having the industry's best implementation of S3 object lock for data immutability. We are third-party validated on on all of these features by industry experts in the government space. We are deployed in multiple highly secure environments for which we've got all the relevant security certifications around federal space, whether it's EAL, PIPS, common criteria, and what have you. So, we do follow the NIST framework, and we have been awarded multiple times on being a highly secure on-prem storage platform. Uh, and the compliance use cases that we support in not just the government sector, but also in financial sector, all stem from our implementation of these features, including and not limited to the data immutability that we offer, where you can have data compliance data in immutable form for as many years as you require it to be. Okay. So highly secure platform and many different capabilities that you can deploy for your compliance use cases.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. I've got a couple questions here about artificial intelligence. Everyone's a hot topic of the last year or so. So I've got first one here is, what use cases would Cloudian fit into for Gen AI?
Right. So some of the eye chart that I showed, there are multiple different aspects of Gen AI. Broadly speaking, what we recently launched with NVIDIA around GPU Direct fits squarely in the model training and checkpointing use cases. It also does support um, inferencing with the RAG workflows that we have. But as a platform where we are going, and this is a very close conjunction with the NVIDIA frameworks, whether it is data cleansing, data loading, coming in to support all of the frameworks that NVIDIA offers, from NeMo, the NIMS frameworks, and what have you. You can potentially see a data lake as being your one-stop shop for your GenAI workloads from the starting to the end. The main drivers for this being the scalability of your model training and your Gen AI workloads. Uh, right now, if you look at your LLMs, you're talking about hundreds of terabytes of training data and what have yous. But going into the multimodal models, all of the data sets are immediately going into petabytes. And how many layers of data storage do customers actually start using is becoming a big question. And stability at scale is another real challenge, and that's where looking at getting a very scalable data lake based on object storage like Cloudian is becoming very interesting to a lot of the large customers that we're dealing with.
Awesome. And so I feel like you kind of answered this, but I have a question here from Nick. He's asking, can the private cloud handle heavy AI workloads? So I guess can you just expand on, that in terms of its capacity to scale and handle those
In
bigger
in
workloads?
fact, I would say that the private cloud is where most of the heavy AI workloads are gravitating towards. One is all of these all of these AI workloads will have data gravity. So most of the enterprise use cases, at least, are requiring very close control of the data, because now data is becoming that differentiator that you can use as you go into agentic AI and what have yous. You want to get more control over the data, so putting it in the cloud is becoming a little bit more of a competitive issue that people are reconsidering. And the whole GPU direct technology that we're talking about today exists not in the cloud. It's actually in for on-prem use cases only. So the throughputs that you're getting, the throughputs required for multimodal model training and what have you, they're only available today on premises. In fact, the cloud vendors, we are working with we also work very closely with the likes of AWS, GCP, and what have you. And they're all working towards getting into more of a high throughput training workloads as well. But there's still work to do from their side, especially on when it comes to the capacity plays and getting high throughputs on there. So I would say private cloud is actually the way uh, large enterprises are dealing with AI, and there's a significant movement of data we see into the private clouds to uh, to 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 take advantage of these Gen AI workloads.
Okay, awesome. Very thorough. Thank you for that. So the cloud is the way. I'm excited about this. Okay, question. Yeah. Question here from Steven. He's asking, is this sold direct or through some other channel?
Oh, we are a channel friendly company, so we have various channel partners, regional as well as national. We also are resold by some of our OEM partners, SMC. We are available on Green Lake from HPE, and similarly from Lenovo. So multiple options to work and get Cloudian into your data centers.
Awesome. And actually, Stephen was also asking if this integrates with other storage OEMs. You kind of mentioned a couple, but if you could maybe expand on any integrations.
Absolutely. So, Cloudian is a software-defined storage. We are x86 based platform. We can work on any OEM x86 based platform, and we are validated, certified in some cases Ready Note certified with SMC, basically Supermicro, Lenovo, HPE. We are also, we worked with Dell in the past, and pretty much depending on, we have customers that run their own white labeled Intel boxes. As long as your OEM box meets some basic hardware specifications that we lay out, anything at the base model or better is supported for Cloudian.
Awesome. Okay, excellent. I think we are pushing up against time, so I'm going to maybe just give you one final question here. This one is asking, how can enterprises effectively leverage cloud solutions to manage exponential data growth while ensuring compliance with data sovereignty regulations?
That is, it's pretty much my presentation, right? So
Fair.
you have to start, you have to have a thought out approach, and you have to make sure that the storage platforms you take are based on standardized API sets, so that you're not getting locked into vendor specific implementations. And you also want to make sure that whatever you get into is future proof, in the sense it's cloud native, talks the language of the cloud, because as we know, it is a cloudy world out there, and it is a hybrid world. So anything that you want to implement should be cloud scale, cloud native, and talking the language of the cloud, so that what you invest in today can grow into your future.
Nice. I like that. It's a cloudy world out there. That's good. So as we wrap up, any, first, if people are really excited, they want to do some follow-ups, get in touch with you, where should they go? How should they do that? And then second, is there anything you just want to leave the audience with as kind of final thoughts, final, bits of wisdom?
Well, reach out to us. We would love to work with you guys for your needs for cloud native storage, AI storage, and multiple other use case applications that we can satisfy. For more information, please visit our website. It's www.cloudian.com, and you can request a free trial of Cloudian right from the website. We do offer 45, 60 days worth of free licensing. So you can get your hands dirty with Cloudian, and see for yourself firsthand, how you can scale into the future. And that's
Awesome.
it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been great to pick your brain and pose these questions to you today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate the forum.
It's a pleasure. Take care. All right, everyone. If you do want to learn more right away, well, you've had the poll up there, you've had that chance, and don't worry, we'll make sure that Cloudian passes on any of that requested information in a speedy fashion. We've also got the handouts tab there, so if you haven't ventured over there quite yet, you've got both the handout from Rubrik that we already mentioned, but also from Cloudian, we've got a PDF, simple 2-pager overview of the top 10 reasons why customers choose Cloudian Hyperstore. So if you want that, it's a great level or high level overview that really kind of picks out the top features and top benefits for you. So there we have it. Now, I know you've all patiently been waiting. I want to thank you all for your curiosity, throwing in all those great questions. And if we didn't get to your question, don't worry. We'll also be passing those on as well, so the Clouding team can follow up and make sure you get what you're looking for. Now it is prize time. We have our second and our third and final $300 Amazon gift cards to give away. Again, you do need to be present to win, so let's hope that you're still kicking around and you've been here on the webinar today. And with that, drum roll, we've got our second gift card going out to Chunyan Su from Ohio, and the third going out to Nick Gall from Oregon. Huge congrats to all 3 of our winners today. And just to recap, our first one went out to Peter Lai from California, second to Chunyan Su from Ohio, and third to Nick Gall from Oregon. As always, we will be in touch about claiming your prize after the webinar. Plus, we'll be reaching out about those best question gift cards from each session. Now, if you are on the webinar today and you like what you saw and you are curious to chat with us about presenting on a future summit, EcoCast, or MegaCast webinar, well, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. And if you want to start that conversation, you can reach out via email at connect@actualtechmedia.com. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media crew, I want to thank all of our speakers one more time, from Rubric and Claudian, as well as Joey D'Antoni, for being here and making this EcoCast possible. I also want to thank all of you for attending and asking some really great questions and bringing up the engagement around this conversation. I had so much fun with all of you today, talking about storage, discussing how data center edge and cloud options exist now and how they're evolving and what's on the cutting edge. And so I hope you've all gotten some interesting ideas and tips, and you're leaving a little more excited and feeling ready to take some next steps and face this challenge head on as things keep evolving, and you guys can be at the head of that evolution. Now, before you go, I do encourage you to mark your calendars and sign up for our expert series, which is taking place tomorrow, January 24th, 12 p.m. Eastern. This is all about Microsoft 365 backup, your checklist for 2025. And this is a little bit more of like a masterclass style. So we have an expert presenter coming in. It's about a 45-minute session. So if you are using Microsoft 365, well, you definitely want to check this out. So great way to spend your lunch break if you're on the East Coast, but a great, quick, short, snappy webinar full of lots of ideas if you are anywhere else, of course. And with that, I look forward to seeing you again on a webinar again soon. And until then, I'm wishing you all an absolutely magical rest of your days.